Hello guys. Welcome to Top Anime Sensei. This video is the continuation video after Tempest Laws. So if you have not watched it, then please watch it. The link is in the description. So without any further delay, let's start. But before we start, please like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates. Had the counselor not come out to mitigate, the meeting probably wouldn't have been able to continue. It was all right for the market to expand, but I wasn't expecting to suddenly start providing new technologies to everyone. Moreover, if all of the nations were to treat us like a lackey and ask us to do every small favor for them, I had a bad feeling that they would call us for help constantly. It turned out that my earlier worries were not for nothing. Even though, right now I felt quite frustrated, the conference needed to carry on. About the last condition, which was to provide military force, I needed to consider that more carefully. Hinata had already given me the advice, which was why I had re-examined the intelligence provided by Soy. Someone had tried to exploit our military force in the name of military assistance, which was why we wanted to take the opportunity to do the same. Tempest would have full authority over the Great Jura Forest. They wanted us to act as a deterrent against monsters, which was fine. We were planning to do that anyway, which would be in our interests. As a result of the meeting between Hinata and I, our nation would be in charge of defending the Great Jura Forest while the Holy Knight Order would defend the deserted land. Our nation would be handling the expenses, so surely the council would be happy to see that, in order for economic activities to proceed smoothly, the world needed to be peaceful first. There were several nations on guard against the Eastern Empire. To them, our nation's defense was like a lifeline to them. I must be worrying too much. If anything were to happen, our nation would be the one to take the first blow. Based on these considerations, the third condition must be the council trying to exploit us. We could actually use this to our advantage. The big prerequisite was that we would handle the defense of the Great Jura Forest. Smaller nations also hoped for us to use our extra military reserve to defend their nations. Even if the number of monsters near the Great Jura Forest had decreased, there may still be unexpected monster attacks. Some dangerous monsters could even fly from the air. So, a nation couldn't be picky when it came to the national defense budget. You also needed to issue salaries for the patrolling soldiers. Clients had to pay for monster slaying to take place. If the council couldn't respond fast enough, they needed to make up the fee with taxpayer money. Moreover, you could only issue contracts at the Freedom Association after discovering the monsters. So, you could never really be fully prepared. The Western Holy Church only dispatched the Holy Knight Order to nations that recognized their religion of Luminism as their national religion. But they had limited knights, and the amount of area to patrol was very broad. Often, there weren't enough people when needed. That's where we'd come in. Each nation will pay us for our defense fee. We would be happy to oblige any request. At the same time, our nation will play a significant role in national defense. No kingdom would be able to ignore our nation. In other words, we would be able to demonstrate our strength and influence on the Western nations with our strong military backing. We can make money while also expanding our influence. That's a plan that can kill two birds with one stone. Moreover, if the Empire really invaded, should I call it fortunate or unfortunate? Tempest sat in the middle of the Empire's invasion route. We'd have to fight them regardless, so we might as well unite with the people standing behind us. It is exactly what we wanted, for them to be not afraid of us and willingly accept our defense force. It would require an absolute difference in terms of strength to make this a reality. We would need to show them they have no chance of winning, or else, it would be extremely foolish to hand their entire national defense to another nation. If we can't win by resisting, then we might as well use it. If we can have everyone think that way, this tactic may actually work. The counselors were either making demands or interrupting people now. It was then that the speaker announced that his explanation concluded. These are the conditions for the inclusion of the Tempest Federation in the council. Your Majesty RIMURU, do you disagree with any of the items? Here, if you didn't state any objection, you were considered to have agreed. I may ignore the views of every counselor here, but I wouldn't miss a single item on the list of conditions. We wanted to exploit the council as well, so it'd be for nothing if we were to be bound by the treaty. Don't you normally draft these things in paper for us to ponder upon? I was quite displeased by this. What should we do if we couldn't give a response right after they demanded an answer? I guess that this was their way of provoking us as well. With that being said, I did have Raphael-san on hand. It would examine everything that was said in detail and use my hands to take notes. How omnipotent. That's why I got to ponder upon all of the items and raise objections. I have reviewed every item in detail and have drafted doubts as well as alternative plans. If you are willing to accept, we won't have any problem either. I handed over the written document to Benimaru, to which he stood up and passed it to the speaker. The speaker was forced to accept it. What? I mostly agreed to their conditions. However, in order to benefit from their attempts at exploiting me, I changed some of the content. Raphael-san very kindly took a record of the revised draft. Unlike just a mere verbal delivery, you could understand everything even after the whole ordeal. The speaker seemed to have looked down upon us because we were monsters. When he saw that his speech just now had been copied down in ink exactly as he had delivered, his face went pale instantly. Moreover, his expression practically said, "Guess we can't get away with this one." There were even revisions using red ink. No wonder why the speaker was so shocked. But it's all thanks to Raphael-san, not me. Although I did need to act all smug for the occasion. Feel free to speak up if there's any problem. If they don't accept the proposal we raised, we don't have to join the council. I would choose to give up deliberately. After all, there hadn't been enough time. And if the public wouldn't accept us, all we needed to do was to change our policies and only have in-depth interactions with the nations that recognize us. No, there is no problem. But I hope you may give us some time to discuss Your Majesty Rimuru's proposal. Looks like the speaker is no fool. He realized we were not easy to deal with. But he raised no objections against our proposal. Instead, he decided to examine the document in detail. Didn't you just deny us any time to ponder? Even if I thought so, there was no benefit in us objecting now. So, I decided to accept his demand. How did things turn out this way? The table that was kicked into the air landed slowly. Time seemed to have frozen. Hinata was glaring at me, her eyes looked so cold. So you've finally done it. Even if she didn't spell it out for me, that line pinched my heart like a needle. With a massive crack, the table hit the ground hard. I slammed the table with my heel, and it shattered into pieces. I crossed my legs on the chair casually, acting as if everything was going according to my plan. I glared around at the counselors, whose faces had all turned pale, and sighed internally. To be honest, I managed to hold it back at first. People called me a mature adult and a role model for Tempest. I was proud of my open heart. You can tell from my behavior lately alone. People said that I was the embodiment of patience and was even good at handling Milam. It's because of my open heart that I was able to endure Milam's stubbornness with a smile. However, what happens when a kind-hearted slime gets crossed by a bunch of disgusting and horrible middle-aged men whose eyes glimmer with greed? They get what they deserve. There had been a 3-hour intermission before the meeting resumed once more. It was then that problems emerged. Regarding the files I mentioned, some counselors handed a bizarre document titled, "Petition," to me. Seeing how tired the speaker looked, this was not his idea. But I had no time to feel sorry for him. As I skimmed the proposal, I realized most of the content in it was baffling. The items were as follows. 1. The Magi train was to lead to the Kingdom of Ingracia, while the construction fees needed to be paid by the Tempest Federation itself. 2. The Tempest Federation was required to supply high-grade equipment that would be used to strengthen the military reserves of the Western nations, as a show of support. 3. The Tempest Federation's labyrinth was a treasure for all humankind, and thus, it was necessary for the Council to oversee its execution and running. 4. As the Tempest Federation joined the Council, it needed to pay a set amount of taxes each year. Moreover, when it came to choosing a representative for Tempest, due to safety measures, only human candidates would be accepted. And etc., etc. They really went wild with their demands. The rational side of me shattered within 3 seconds. These guys were truly impressive to have pissed me off in a mere 3 seconds. Demands like these weren't worth more inspection. This was beyond an unfair treaty. If I were to sign such a treaty, I might as well give up on coexistence with humans. Hey, fellows, are you looking down on me? I'll allow you to say whatever you want, but where did you get the impression that you can make demands of a demon lord? Rimuru-sama is asking a question. Don't be so quiet now, please answer quickly. Shuna added on the assault with a smile. Her words were even more effective than mine. All the counselors felt the immense pressure eating them alive and began to sweat. You all seem to have been mistaken. My nation is preparing to build a huge economic zone. But even so, I intend to join the Western Council. But this is for one reason. That is, we do not intend to antagonize humanity. But since you are clearly unwilling to cooperate, I don't suppose we should either. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have not watched my other videos, then please watch them. The links are in the description. And don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates.